We're on, and we're back. Welcome to the Julie Jeppson podcast with, what was it, Gritty Mama's production?
A Gritty Mama's podcast, a Julie Jeppson production.
You got that right. With some conversations with Carley. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about and a lot of different things to call this, but welcome back. Last week we were talking about rage, my rage with this
The
new
unfairness
of this infuriating unfairness, if you will, of this amended ruling, which maybe by now I haven't heard from attorneys yet. Maybe by the time this is listened to, I will. But
I hope so.
I do too. I mean, I need a game plan. I need a strategy. I need something to look forward to. So, not that that's something to look forward to, but
No, you just need a plan.
something. Yes,
You just need something to ground yourself and to anchor into.
Yeah, and last week we were talking about how much all of this costs. It was 3 years now, 3.5 years of litigation, and I mean, close to $300,000 later.
Which I don't know about everybody else, but I sure don't have that kind of money to spend on litigation.
No, I definitely don't either. And so I'm in a mountain of debt and trying to keep my kids involved in the sports that they love and all the things, but
eating food.
Yeah,
and
I mean, just
having running water at your house.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Clothes
gosh.
on their
And my
back.
house is falling apart. And we're just band-aiding, if that's a word. Bandaging is probably a better word.
I think bandaging is the official word.
I'm so tired. It's 10:20. But we're just trying to stay afloat physically, emotionally, financially, all of the things. But we were talking about how much all of the things cost and how you really don't have a say in the matter a lot of the times. You don't really have a say in how much people are charging for what, and you're just ordered to pay it. And things are assigned to your case, whether you like it or not, and you don't normally have a say in it, or you don't always have a say in it, and you just have to pay it. And so one of the examples I wanted to share was when I went to my first mediation, and it was about 9 a.m. to 5:30 in the evening, and my attorney and the mediator shot the breeze for an hour and a half.
Wait, you had to pay for that?
I didn't really realize that I didn't think that we had started, but they were just talking about people that they knew and where they had gone over the summer and
what?
And it was literally an hour, if not more, of them just chatting. And I was like, what? I was just letting them, I wanted their relationship to be good and rosy, so that, I don't know, it would be in my good graces, if they were getting along.
Nobody wants to be the interrupter. Nobody wants to be the annoying person in the room.
And I'm like, oh, good. They're building their relationship and having memories of good times, in the past. And I just want them to be all hunky-dory with each other. And anyway, during this conversation in mediation, he said to me, he also happens to be the president of the AFCC, which is the Association of Family Conciliation of Courts, which is a corrupt organization. I'll say it out loud. And he was the president of that, mediating my case. And I remember him saying to me, look, I get it. You have just been attacked by a rabid dog. You're bruised, you're bleeding, you have Band-Aids and bandages all over you, and you've been taken to the hospital, and you've had to heal, and you've had to have your wounds licked, and you've had to let the scabs dry up or the wounds scab over, and you've gotten better. He's like, and now it is your responsibility. Have I told you this?
Mm-mm.
He said, now it's your responsibility to take your children, even though they've been wounded too, since you guys have now healed. I mean, yes, sure, there's scars there, but it is your responsibility now to introduce your children back into the backyard. And I said,
come again?
I said, yeah, and I remember saying this to him. I said, I don't have to go pet the dog. And he got pissed at me.
Because his analogy fell right apart real fast.
Because he's like, you just ruined a perfectly good metaphor of what I was trying to say about or allude to with inviting and introducing your children back to their father.
No, Julie,
that's
what he said. Do you know what happens to dogs that bite?
They continue to bite, and they get put down.
They get put down. So his analogy from day one, from square one, whatever we're saying,
was horrible.
That's a horrible analogy. Is this the same one that at the end of the day gave you his Venmo and said you owe me $750?
Yes, same guy. And the same one that had this hour-and-a-half conversation with the attorney, and they're just chatting. And then I remember at the end of the conversation, you know, because they're pressuring you and opposing counsel saying, we'll wait until 5:30. That's our, like, solid drop-off, what's it called? The deadline. That's a hard stop at 5:30. She accepts it or not, and we're out of here. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And I didn't have anyone in there with me.
Oh.
And it was 5:25. And I looked at my lawyer. I was like, can I like go in the other room?
The first attorney?
Mm-hmm. I said, can I go pray for a second? And she's like, I mean, if you want. And the mediator says to me, I have just been sitting here all day for hours. I want to go home. I want to go home. And I've been waiting for you to make these decisions. I know. And this is after they've chatted. And he took, you know, the long lunch break. And it was just another day at the office for him. But I was like sobbing. Because I was like, I feel like you guys are, I said to him, I feel like you're giving him time that he doesn't want. So he's like, well, it doesn't matter. Just because he's not taking the time doesn't mean he doesn't get it, which is facts in court. It is his right, not his obligation. But then he says, it's your responsibility to introduce your kids back to the rabid dog and help them understand their environment. And what to do and not to do kind of thing. And that's when I said,
I don't not to get bit by the dog again.
I know. And that's why I said, I don't have to pet the dog. And that's when he said, you just ruined this metaphor of how to reintroduce. Because remember, I've been accused of alienating. I've been accused of brainwashing the kids.
I don't like this guy.
I don't like him either. I still don't.
But I would get myself in trouble. The fact that you didn't get yourself in trouble is pretty actually admirable.
Well,
I would have told him a lot more.
In mediation, but you're so scared to say anything because I don't want anything to go against me, and I don't want to appear to him as uncooperative, and have him go and rip on me to opposing counsel, or to the petitioner and his lawyer. I was just like, panicking and crying and saying, "Wait, why do you want me to go introduce them to the rabid dog if they're going to get bitten and wounded again?"
You're like, do you not love my kids?
But this
analogy is not a good one.
But then
guy.
he said, look, I get it. I have twin boys. I haven't seen them in 8 years. And I was like,
what?
Oh my gosh, this is so biased. Like,
why is this man a mediator?
No. And he did me no favors because he was obviously very bitter too, or very bitter from what happened with maybe his ex-wife alienated, or maybe I don't know, but he was not team woman. For sure. And was using that kind of
team trying to understand both sides.
Holy moly. So that was not good. And I remember.
I wish I was a fly on a wall knowing what he was saying to Alex. I really wish I could have heard that. I mean, the petitioner.
The petitioner. Yes. Yeah. So it comes 5:30 and then finally he's
Did you get to go out and pray?
No.
What?
Because it came to be 5:30 and he was like, well, look, I realized I became a better mediator when I didn't force people to decide. You don't have to decide yes or no right now. I get paid either way. Like, so it was like, I don't effing give a crap whether you decide or not, because you're going to pay me either way today. And I decided I became a better mediator when I didn't force them to come to a resolution, because it doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day. You can mediate over and over and over again. And I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do mediation after mediation after mediation and just do it till you're both have nothing left. I didn't know you could do that, but
wow.
But I felt better that I didn't have to make that decision at 5:30, and that because nothing about it felt right. And he kind of gave me permission. I felt like I had to choose because I didn't know you could go and do more mediations.
My father-in-law says, I would have never thought to apply it to the situation, but I think it works. My father-in-law says, well, there's two things. If anybody ever mentions the church and your money in the same sentence, take your wallet and run. But the other one is, if it's a good deal for me today, it'll be a good deal for me tomorrow. If you're on the car lot and they have this, they call them an exploding offer. Yeah. If you have an exploding offer, you have to decide right now, it's not a good offer. It's not worth doing. If it's a good deal today, it'll be a good deal tomorrow. Yeah. Walk away.
Yeah, and I did.
And that's what it sounds like you did.
Yeah, and I felt better about that. I thought I had to make a decision. I didn't know until they said, you don't have to do this or sign this, and I signed nothing.
Good for you.
And I'm so glad that I didn't. But after that experience, you feel bullied. You feel like they're browbeating you, and they are pressuring you to sign.
It feels like you're gaslit.
Yeah, and pressuring you to settle, and you will not get that in trial. There is no way. I mean, they told me, I was like, wait, there's been negligence, and there's been Abandonment. He up and left his family. Like, why are we giving him all these like extra chances and second tries? And like, I don't understand. And they said, look, and they're just kind of laughing at me, saying, one of my clients, their son, the son's skull was fractured in dad's care, and dad still got custody. She said to me, rapists get custody of their kids, or at least they still have supervised visitation, if anything. And she's like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And that's the one thing she was right about. Nobody cares.
That is so sad.
Yeah. And I remember something that my dad said to me that I am like disgusted by, not because he said it, but because he told me. He used to be a divorce attorney himself. And he said, a judge said to him, John, I know that I've done my job when both parties walk away parties walk away mad.
Yeah.
And feeling unfair. And I was like, that's horrible.
I've heard that before.
Because it shouldn't be that way.
In a good negotiation, nobody gets exactly what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, in cases of abuse, I don't believe that should be the way it is. But it's so hard to prove,
Well,
at least.
When it comes to your kids, especially, it's like, but even those who have proved it, sometimes, I think the only way that I have personally heard, and I am not as knowledgeable as you, I haven't talked to nearly as many people, but the only case that I'm aware of where the criminal behavior affected the divorce, the criminal behavior was underway and they were convicted and they were in jail. And that's why the divorce was as clean as it was.
Yeah.
It was because the criminal and the family law were separate. But if you're trying to prove in family law that there's been that kind of stuff going on, then
most of the time, if a woman claims abuse, like her attorney will counsel her not to talk about it, because as soon as you talk about abuse, like 98% of kids are removed from the custody of the protective parent, because it's so easy for the other side just to say, oh, she's just saying that. She's just saying that to punish the dad or whoever is the abusive parent, to punish him so that the kids will hate him. And so then they remove custody from the protective parent and give it to the abuser. Because they think that you've brainwashed and alienated. And I'm sure that has happened in cases, but it screws it up for the rest of us who are being accused of it. I actually
know a case. I know locally a case where that's exactly what she did to get power. And she accused the dad of doing all sorts of things. And as far as I know, it was all garbage just to try
and then it ruins it for my case.
Actual victims.
Yeah. So my point to all of this is that I walked away from that mediation like distraught. I was for 3 days not in my right mind. I don't know how I drove myself home. My subconscious was doing all the work. Like I was like in another realm of reality, and it was exhausting. I remember being so physically tired, and I had just been sitting all day. It's like when you're physically tired from being in a plane all day. Yeah. You're just tired. So, it was then that I was introduced to Dana Tingy, my strategist, and then was introduced to all of the female clients and some male clients that she has had, and had the privilege of getting to know and kind of introduced me into this new world of women who are screwed over in family court. And I was kind of brought into this support system of women who have been beaten and battered through the family court system, and by horrible attorneys and secret combinations and the underground tunnels of family law. And I would invite you, if you have been through this or know someone who is going through this, that they can DM me or send me a comment on this podcast, and you can join mine. I am starting a group of gritty women, who have been through this or are going through it or about to enter it, to join my little group of powerhouse women, so that you're not alone and you feel supported and uplifted and hopeful, because you're not the only one going through it.
The point is, you lose if they can make you feel like you're alone, right? If they can make you leave court and feel like you have no one and nothing, they win. Yeah. The only way that you win is to know that you are gritty, that you can do this, that you have what it takes to stand up for you, for your kids, that you have hope. And you need somebody on a day like Julie had, where, she gets bad news, that Julie, if you open up her phone, she has an arsenal of women and some men even that she can text and call. And sometimes it's because they need to commiserate. Sometimes they need to strategize. Sometimes Julie just needs somebody to tell her that she's not crazy.
Yeah.
You get to be mad. It's okay to be mad. You're not crazy for being easily agitated when you open up an envelope that tells you that they've screwed with your life again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you need somebody to tell you that there's a combination at work that you're not in charge of here. There's these secret combinations, and you are a victim to it. You know, that I think the thing with you in particular is that you're used to being able to muscle your way through everything.
Yeah.
You are strong and gritty and willing to work hard and do whatever it takes. But sometimes that's not enough. And you need to have somebody, when you reach that point, many somebodies that you can call and text and rely on to sometimes agree with you, validate you, sometimes put you in your place.
Yeah.
Not often, but, you know, mostly validate. And like, because my thing that I was telling Julie is she doesn't need criticism. She doesn't even need...
I mean, we beat ourselves up enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What she needs is somebody to love her, to help her see things clearly, to not be... one of the things that I really liked about your attorneys when I was watching him lawyer, Steve, was that he was not emotional. You need people like you are emotional.
Yes.
That is your right, and that's what makes you human. But you need people around you who can empathize because they understand the emotion, but they're not in it so much with you that they don't see it clearly.
They're clouded, yeah.
You have to have other people who can see it clearly so that you have that, what's what I'm looking for? Like, it's your right to feel clouded. It's your right to be clouded.
Yeah.
That's like what you expect for yourself.
Yeah.
It's your privilege, I guess, is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
to sit in that. You have to sit in the mud, but you have to have somebody with their belly on the ground and the branch reached out saying, I'm going to pull you back.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like sometimes you need people to sit in the mud with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need them to pull you out. But you have to have a big group of people. The reason why we were talking about this to begin with was because I really like how John Deloney on his show will always encourage women. I mean, anybody, but in these situations, he always encourages people. He says, you know, when you hang up this phone, I want you to go and call 2 or 3 people and say, will you go to lunch with me? Can we have a conversation? I need somebody to talk to. And that's what you need.
Yeah, because there's so many women that are suffering in silence or that are embarrassed and don't want to talk about it. And I'm here to tell you to talk about it and to speak up about it. And it doesn't mean you have to be public if you don't want to, but reach out to someone because it's going to fester inside of you and canker your soul unless it's released in some way, shape, or form.
And you'll just feel alone.
Yeah. I mean, I know that for me, we've all got our group of friends from high school, and I love them dearly and always will. I'm going to see them all next week. But things have changed even with my closest circle of friends because not that I'm like, oh, they don't understand and I'm the only one that's gone. It just, but things change and they can't see what I'm seeing. They don't feel what I'm feeling. And it's like suddenly you're the oddball out. Now I'm the only one that's not married. And when we have conversations, we're not talking about relationships with our husbands or sex lives or going on our family trip. And I'm just like silent the whole time, you know? And then they'll say to me, so like, or even with things have changed with family. The only things that are really talked about with me are, well, how are the dogs? Which dogs are you watching this week? And I'm like, is this all that they have for me? Is this all that we're going to talk about is now the dog sitting because they don't know what to say to me because it's awkward now and they don't know what to ask and what's going to make me uncomfortable and what's going to be awkward for them or for me. And so let's just not say anything when really all I want to do is talk about it.
Yeah. The only analogy that I can think of is I've had a couple friendships along, you know, in the last 10, 20 years where money is an issue.
Yeah.
And what I mean is they have more kids than they can afford, which Charlie Kirk actually always said that. Have more kids than you can afford, you know, but it just means that they don't have a lot of expendable income, right? And I didn't grow up wealthy, you know, and James and I like to think that we live modestly now, you know, but compared to most of the planet, you know, we live well.
Yeah.
But I've always looked at us as kind of moderate. That's where I like to be. I don't want to be extreme on any levels and anything. I just like to be moderate. But I've had friends where because they, like their husband is in education and they have 5 kids, whatever. Their whole day is spent trying to figure out how to afford the next thing.
Yeah.
Right? The meal, the school pictures, the friends, whatever, right? And that is constantly all of my interaction with some of my friends like this was money based. And it doesn't really bother me, except for you can tell it bothers them. And I don't have the same things to say about it because it doesn't affect me the same way. And so my whole friendship with them was revolved around money. And when we got out of school and we're actually making money, it became really hard to maintain those relationships because of how I feel like I can't say anything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make anybody feel bad. And I don't care about money.
Yeah.
But it's not about how I feel. It's about how they feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know what to say, what not to say, how to say something. But like, I want to talk about anything but money.
Yeah.
But like, you can't even say, did you go to the movie? I don't have money for the movie. You know what I mean? It's like everything is about the money.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel awkward because I'm like, well, should I have not gone to the movie?
Right.
Like, do I feel bad that I went to that movie? Or what? You know what I mean? It's like
money does it changes relationships,
right, and so that's
who you hang out with.
Like how you think about things. And I always like to be in the middle, but I have some friends that are very, very wealthy and they're like, let's go have a spa day. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend like that kind of money. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just my preference. It's not like there's nothing wrong with going to the spa.
Right.
But I'm at the tail end, like where I live, there are a lot more people that are a lot more wealthy than we are. And so I've been on both sides is what I'm saying. Yeah. I've had people that are a lot more wealthy than us and people who are a lot less wealthy. And it's hard to have one foot on each side of the fence, right? Yeah. It's really difficult. And so if I'm thinking, if that's how just money is, married, single or not single, and then like that affects money. It affects what you're able to do. Like, well, I can't have a girls' night. I have to put 4 kids to bed and pick up a kid over here, right? Like, so to have somebody who is in a similar circumstance as you, it's kind of like I really wanted to go to BYU so badly, not because I cared about the education, but because I just wanted to have friendships where I didn't have to explain why I did or didn't do or how I felt about whatever, because my whole life growing up out of state, I had to explain so much, which was fine and good and nothing wrong with it. But friendships come easier when you're on the same page is what I'm saying.
Yeah, even and socioeconomically and culturally. I mean, it's
exactly. And when you get divorced, you've now changed so much, right? It's not just are you married or are you not. It's now you have half the income that you used to, if that. We'll just say if. That's lucky. If your ex pays their everything, you know. So
you've lost friends.
You've lost
family, you know.
Because people have to take sides or they don't agree with what you're doing or whatever, right? Like the point is you can make a laundry list of how this changes your situation. But the point of it is, if you can find people who have experienced it, they don't have to be in the throes of it. It can be somebody who has been divorced and isn't anymore. Yeah. Or it can be somebody who, like I've had a sibling go through it. I've had good friends go through it. So I have a lot of sympathy. It's not the same as empathy. I haven't experienced it myself, but I'm very aware and sympathetic to what's happening. But to see you in a room with women, it's almost like you light each other's candles. It's like, you know, your light shines brighter when you're together because it's like me going to BYU. You don't have to explain yourself. They know. They might not share the same details, but they know the fear. They know the empathy of like that feeling of what if I lose my kids? Or what if my ex marries somebody that's awful to my kids?
And just for someone to understand the injustice of being in family law, the unfairness of
a bad attorney.
Yeah. And lying and betrayal and feeling like nothing you say matters. And even if you have the truth doesn't matter.
Feeling
I think it's even
like
twisted.
Unspoken secret combination thing, feeling that like I can't put my finger on it, but there's something not right about this. There's something playing in the background that I don't get. Yeah. And so it's like you band together, but when I'm with just my neighborhood friends, ward friends, my regular friends, like they haven't been or experienced, just like I can't empathize with infertility.
and miscarriages. Like, I have not been through that, but the sympathy is there. But like, there's groups for infant loss and for grief and for widows. It's
for a good reason.
Yeah. And I think that's so amazing. And it's the same with me, except for I just feel like it's more secret, because everything is, you're not supposed to talk about anything.
Yep.
You know, you're never supposed to talk about what's happening in family law, or because you're supposed to protect the children as if they don't know. But I mean, I know for me, it's like friends will talk about how they went out to dinner, and I'm like, I can't even go out to dinner. You know, or we went on this date night and the movie was terrible.
Or your family's going out of the country on an awesome vacation.
Yes.
And their response is, can you watch my dog?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
it's hard. And then you feel guilty for not being grateful for the blessings that you have, because you're already blessed more than half the population of the world. But it's, you know, it doesn't mean it's any easier. Like, I chose to have these 8 kids, right? But it doesn't mean I don't have the right to say it's still hard.
Heck yeah. It's like being pregnant. And people, I mean, my sister-in-law dealt with infertility, and when she was pregnant, she didn't even want to say, you know, how miserable she was when she finally got pregnant, because
she wanted to be pregnant so bad.
Yes. And I was like, listen, we all know.
Yeah.
But it still sucks. It still freaking sucks. And you are allowed to say it. Like, yes, you know better than anybody else that there are women who would die to be pregnant like you are right now. But that doesn't alleviate the suffering that you're in. Mm-hmm. You get to be upset or angry or feeling sick and frustrated. Like, don't discredit that.
Yeah. I feel like for me too, I mean, I was discouraged from marrying the petitioner from several different people close to me, people not close to me. And obviously I went against that. And so obviously I have my own issues with my own personal revelation. I have my own issues with answered prayers, what I think to be are answered prayers. But mostly I feel like I can't, it's like I got I had this coming. Like, I got what I deserved.
But you are gaslighting yourself on air legitimately right now.
As we speak. I know. And that's sometimes why I don't say a lot, because I'm like, well, I deserved it. I didn't listen. I made this decision regardless.
There were red flags.
Yeah.
However, for you to allow yourself to assume that the man that you married is the man you divorced is unfair.
Yeah.
And incorrect.
Yeah.
Right? But it's kind of like, I was in a text exchange with one of my friends today. I asked her if she liked her son's girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, there's a few things that are like red flags to me about the relationship. But she says, but we know nothing. We're just, you know, here for the grocery store and the bank and whatever.
You're just the parents.
Yeah, she was like basically saying that her kids think that they have no experience worthwhile. Right. They have nothing to say, you know. And I think that that's human nature, to assume that the people around you don't know, because they're not in it. They don't know him like you know him or whatever. And the truth, as we all age and we all learn and grow, the more we see, the more we understand that there are kind of universal signs for things. And I've heard a lot of people talk recently about how, like, you have this femtuition, if you will, you know, or you can call it a lot of different things, but it's this idea that as you go about your day, as you learn and you grow, your brain is processing everything that you're seeing, everything that you're living. And you will have feelings to do or not do things. And it's like you have information that you don't know stored in your brain. And then you have this intuition based on the things that you can't describe, but you've been learning along the way.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you're getting married and your mom's 50, 60, however she was, and if she had said to you, Julie, this is what I'm seeing, this is the red flag or whatever, you'd be like, but you don't know.
Yeah.
And she can't articulate to you what she actually knows, because it came with age. It came with observation. It came with
seasoned experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that, like, youth is wasted on the young. You know what I mean? Like, we have so much that we've learned, but how have we learned it? You have to go through the hard things.
Yeah.
And so when you discredit your own experience, one, you are discrediting your experience, right? Like, you had to go from there to here. You can't skip all of that learning. But also, I don't want anybody listening to this podcast to blame themselves for somebody else's agency.
Yeah.
When people say, why does a God who loves us allow bad things to happen? It's because it has to be that way for agency to exist, for us to have choices, right? Did I say on the podcast my friend's experience, right? I told you guys about how her answered prayer from Heavenly Father about like, why did you tell me to marry this guy when this was going to happen?
I can't remember if you talked about that.
Well, her response, because she was like, I know he told me to marry him. I know it was the right thing to do. But when I prayed about it, this is 10 years later or 15 years later, the response was, you were his best shot. Like, you were it for him. If he was going to turn out to be the guy that I wanted him to be, it was going to be with you. It was his agency.
Yeah.
It was not that she wasn't good enough or she didn't do something. It was his agency. And it was her agency to marry him. Mm-hmm. She loved him. She wanted to marry him, right? And so I think we always have to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and to see you are a good human with a good heart, and that's what you wanted to see in him. Mm-hmm. You saw the good in him. And you do, when you're falling in love, you see the good in that person. Yeah. And that's the best parts of us.
I know. I hate hearing, well, love is blind. I mean, I know all that. Like, it's so like, I know. But like, I saw the deficiencies in him. Deficiencies like he couldn't drive a car. He didn't have.
But that didn't seem permanent.
Right.
That seemed like a stepping stone to something else. Like, you can fix that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew that I was more organized and more structured. I thought that was just a kind of a personality trait.
Does the petitioner drive a car now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some of these things you're talking about, even organizing. I'll tell you, my mother-in-law, 21 years ago when we got married, I thought she was a little bit too organized to, plan
and now
Christmas.
You're like so grateful for it.
Yes. And I've learned like I have to be like, that's how the world functions.
Yeah.
If I can get better, anybody can get better. Right.
Yeah.
So the things that you're seeing as like insufficient.
Yes.
Were not deficiencies. They were just insufficient, but you're young.
But I'm also insufficient in other areas. Like he was very positive and uplifting, and I was more of the realist and logical, and I thought that would balance us out. But yeah, you start to see all these strengths of yours. You start to view them as weaknesses. You start to view them as destructive. And the reason
that's gaslighting, I know, that's narcissism.
I know. And that's the trap that you get into. And I only see those things now. I mean, I shouldn't say I only see those things now. I saw them then, but I just disregarded them. I decided even though I saw like the red flags and I saw the things, the way he made me feel or the things that he said to me that were belittling or demeaning or whatever, I would just tolerate or excuse because we were married and we made covenants.
And in his case, there are cultural differences. What you say in one culture, like I will never forget, when there's an account called Nothing Down About It.
Yeah. It's about Down syndrome.
Yeah. She's local too. She's awesome. But I was like going through stories one day and she was saying that she got reamed the day before by saying that her little boy who has Downs was being a spaz. Pretty sure that's what she said. He was being a spaz. And I guess in some other countries, like that means something totally different. Like in America, it just means like you're being a little crazy.
Yeah.
Like my parents would say it. I would say it all the time.
Same thing happened to me. I said, I had a powwow with my kids tonight about being respectful and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know if it was a legitimate Native American, but somebody commented and said, how dare you use our sacred term? I was like, what? Because the word powwow was, we've
it's like a colloquialism that we've used.
Yes.
Kind of termed it. Yeah.
It was just like,
But that one doesn't surprise me as much as spaz.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard that spaz would be used that way.
Yeah.
Because it's an English word. Like powwow, I've always known as a Native American. But I am also from the Seattle area.
But I didn't think it was a bad thing to say. Like I knew it was a Native American thing, but
I didn't know it was sacred.
I didn't either. That it was.
So it meant like coming together and having a meeting.
That's what I thought.
But that's the point. Is like you let it go because there's different cultural things, and the other thing, like you said, the deal is done. You're already married. Like you got to make the best. of it.
It's time to be selfless. No matter what, you remove the tension. You keep your covenants. You give.
Well, and you hope for growth. But I remember, I love church history, which is weird, I know. But I've had conversations about it a lot. And one of the things that has always stuck with me is this idea that nobody wants to be remembered for their worst moments.
Yeah.
And I will always say, like, well, do I want to talk about my husband or, fill in the blank person, but I'll just use my husband. Like, do I want to talk about him in his worst moments? Do I want to focus on him in his worst moments? Or do I want to focus on the stories that we're going to tell at his funeral, right? Of like, this is the awesome guy that he was. And so that's how I try and treat other people, because I want them to treat me that way.
Right.
And so you're thinking in your relationship,
That
I'm going to treat him that way because he's thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And really, if you're looking for perfection, it's getting late. I can't even talk. If you're looking for perfection, you would never gotten married to anybody.
Yeah.
Not the petitioner, not anybody.
No.
Because the fact of the matter is, we're all imperfect and weird and, hard to be around at times and whatever, right? So, so you are a good woman with good intentions, wanting the best of things. And so, of course, that's how you see him. Mm-hmm. And once you're married, that's how you should see him anyway.
Yeah.
So nothing that you did was wrong in that sense. Did you miss stuff? Sure. But we all do.
Yeah.
And it's really a crapshoot if you end up in family court or not. I've told my husband on several occasions how freaking lucky we are that it has worked out the way that it has. I mean, there was a moment in time that wasn't that brief that I was like, am I still in this?
Yeah.
Do I still want this? Because it was hard. And sometimes it's really luck, because both he and I had to at that time say, yes, we're still in this. Yes, but if he hadn't,
who knows where,
I'm not in control. If I hadn't and he had, like, what's lucky is where our life has taken us, right? There's so much that goes into these relationships too, from career and finances to family and to your home and all that. There's so much that goes into it. So never, my point in all of this, to anybody listen, is never solely blame yourself. Don't take away personal responsibility. Don't say it's all his fault. It's all the other person's fault, because there really are two sides to every story, and there's two people, right? Like, the thing that honestly, for me, and this is, not really true, but I can confidently say that what saved our marriage from my viewpoint was a phone call from my older sister, who was telling me about one of her family members that had gone through a divorce. And she said they went to, not mediation, they went to therapy, and it didn't matter. He did everything that the therapist asked him to do and what the wife wanted him to, and it didn't matter. It was never enough, and she was never happy, right? And it was never her fault. So when I told my sister that we were going to go to therapy, she says, don't walk in there thinking that it's all his fault. And that felt like vinegar. But I knew that she was right. And so I still walked in thinking it was 90% his fault.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, it was both our fault. And that's what saved our marriage. And so I'm not saying don't allow yourself to feel fault. What I'm saying is, realize that there are so many things that go into it. And whatever it is you're thinking about, that you were negative Nancy or controlling, that is one fraction of the equation.
Yeah.
Do not allow yourself to get
because at the end of the day, I was willing to stay, begged him to go to counseling, and begged him to stay and to stay in the home, so that our 8 kids would have 2 parents under the same roof. And
for a lot of reasons,
he just flat out said no.
And that's it. That's agency. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And we just have to pick up the pieces. And the point of this episode was supposed to be, we always get sidetracked. I don't know. We just what's the word? Riff. We just riff this. But the whole point was, you need to have people in your corner that will remind you, Julie, this is not all your fault. You could not have done anything to fix this.
Yeah.
And now you're just picking up the pieces. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. And you need to make sure that you have friends around that can pick you up, dust you off, drag you around if you need it,
Yeah.
It's important. I think that as adults, I was just telling James today, I was like, you don't have a lot of friends, dude. Not in a bad way, but like, as we get married, if you're introverted, the older you get, the less friends you have.
Yeah.
Because your spouse becomes your friend.
Right.
Right? And I think that's good. You want your spouse to be your best friend.
Right.
But it can't be your only friend. And then if you get divorced, like, you need you need to build up that friend reservoir.
Yep.
Do not sit in that lonely space.
You need people in your corner, people that can understand. And I don't hold it against any family or friends who are maybe thinking, oh, she's really withdrawn or she's really pulled away. You know, I don't blame them for thinking that I have done that or that they have done that to me. I mean, we're in different realms of life, and I don't judge them if they judge me. I don't.
Everybody has their own stuff.
Yeah.
And so everybody gets to live that, like, in the realm that they're at. When you were talking about reaching out to women in your own situation, I think that's more of it. It's not just having friends. It's having friends that can meet you where you're at because they know where you're at.
Yeah, because they've experienced the same crap. So I am inviting you, if you are listening or watching, if you need that kind of support group, to please DM me on my Instagram or Facebook or in the comments below.
What do you use the most? Is it Instagram?
Instagram, probably. Yeah.
I would reach out when people message me on Facebook. I don't get it for like ever.
I know. I hardly check Facebook, but.
So Instagram.
Yeah. It's the Big Family Jewels or on Gritty Mamas. My speech is getting slurred.
I know, you're so tired. I can see in your eyes. I gotta go take my daughter's boyfriend home too.
Okay, so stay tuned. We're gonna have some guests. We're just working out some kinks with the technology, trying to
figure out how to get a third
microphones and Zooms and all the things. But we are gonna have some guests in here that are experts on narcissism and experts on.
We want to get Dana in here.
Yeah.
Who wants to see Dana? Leave a comment for us in the comments if you want to see Dana. Dana is.
She's my domestic violence national expert, and
what's her company called?
highgrounddivorces.com. She is basically a strategist who walks you through the court system and actually saves you money on your bill, because she will work directly with you to come up with plans to strategize for your lawyer, and she works kind of hand in hand with your lawyer.
But like we were just talking about, she's also a friend because she has been through the freaking ringer. She literally was poisoned by her ex.
Yep, she's been poisoned, and she is living proof of resilience and grit and helping other women.
Nobody pushes that woman around.
No, you do not mess with her.
I mean, when I met her within seconds, I was like, okay.
Holy moly, yeah.
I get you.
Yep, she is intense, and she is a fighter, and she's a wealth of knowledge, and I was so privileged to work with her and still do. So we'll invite her on, and she can answer more questions than I probably even have questions to ask. So anyway, what do you guys think so far? What do you want to know? Let us know in the comments.
And let us know like what they'd want Dana to talk about.
Yeah. She's an expert on manipulation and coercive control. She's an expert on that and domestic violence. At the end of the day, she was one that said, Julie, you don't have to have a gun pointed at your head for it to be domestic violence. It's not just choking and assaulting. It's emotional abuse and manipulation, and it's financial and legal abuse and psychological. I mean, she's an expert on all of it. She's experienced pretty much all of it. So stay tuned and thanks for listening.
So now you know what it means to be gritty. It can be dirty, but you're still so pretty. Now make a pledge and never take no pity. Baby, welcome to the gritty committee. She's a gritty girl and she got gritty plans. So get out the way so she can wash her hands of the blame and the shame and the claiming that she would never be enough. The gritty mama got this stuff.